Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Hey, you're back here with us for another edition of Retirement Elevated. Thanks for checking out our podcast, as always, with Sean Lee, managing partner at Elevated Retirement Group. Sean, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm here. I'm enjoying life and ready to do another podcast.
Well, sweet. So, how's your baseball stuff going on now? We got the World Series happening. You leaning either way?
As long as the Yankees and Dodgers lost, like we talked earlier, if the Red Sox can't be in it, I don't want to see the Yankees or the Dodgers in it. So
now you just maybe like a good Game 7 would be ideal?
Oh, yeah. That'd be perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Right. Well, at the time of this podcast taping, it's now 3-2 Astros lead. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes moving forward. But we got a great show lined up for you folks, as always. Hey, if you want to talk to Sean, if you've got some questions or concerns, need a little help, as always, don't forget you can reach out to him at 855-50-RETIRE. That's 855-50-RETIRE. He's the managing partner at Elevated Retirement Group, serving you in Salt Lake City area, Sandy, St. George, all that good stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Apple or Google or Spotify or whatever platform of choice you like. We'd certainly appreciate it. All right, Sean, so let's hit into our portfolio is not a plan conversation for today. So just think about that title for a second. A portfolio is not a plan. And we've said that many times on the show. Sometimes people have a collection of things. They have some various different financial vehicles and they think, well, yeah, I've got a plan. But a portfolio is just not a plan that's pulling all this together. It can have no real goals moving forward, right? If you don't have that plan to bring those pieces together.
That's exactly it. If you look at, or if you think about a portfolio that's just by itself, hey, Sean, I've got this investment strategy or that investment strategy. A portfolio that isn't in service to a plan is just a form of speculation.
Okay.
And it can really have no other goal other than to beat somebody else's portfolio. So you see that a lot. Oh, and what normally happens when you go meet with advisors, you say, oh, here's your stuff. Let me look at your stuff. Oh, that stuff's bad. Here's my stuff. It's better.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, my stuff's better. These investments are better than what you're currently doing, so move to my investments. And that's where we see money jump from advisor to advisor. But what that does is that kind of opens the door for the next advisor relationship to come in and say, oh, well, my stuff's better. And so that's why when we look at it, just having a portfolio and not having a plan with it, you're just speculating at that point. And the whole goal is just to beat everybody else. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's bring this back around to our baseball conversation a second ago. You got the word plan in there, which means you need a planner. So just like baseball, players need a manager.
Right. You need a game plan going into it.
Exactly.
We talk a lot about baseball, and I equate a lot of kind of the analogies that I use to baseball. When you start to look at how a manager of a professional baseball team goes into it, and the manager comes in, they prepare a game plan pregame. They've got this idea of the strategy that they want to run out there. They prepare the lineup.
Who's on first? Why is on second?
And they're gonna, where are you gonna hit? Who's gonna hit first? Who's gonna hit second?
Right.
And they're gonna talk about that game plan with the players. This is what we need to do to execute. Financial planning is no different. You need to work with a game plan manager to go out and say, okay, this is the strategy. This is all the work that we're putting in to get you to, we'll call it retirement. And then they're going to prepare all the offerings, the investments to execute the game plan. And they're going to talk about the game plan with you, the player of the team, of how it's going to be executed. But then what happens? Somebody gets hurt or things don't go as planned in the middle of the game. You got to make adjustments as a manager.
Yeah.
And your financial plan needs to make adjustments as well. They don't call it financial plan. They call it financial planning because there has to be adjustments as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're up, if you're 5 runs to 1, you may have to move some things around and try to, what do they call that? Manufacture some runs, right? So you got to do some different things going on there. So you need to make those in-game adjustments. And of course, if you think about retirement, like you said, tax planning, inflation, opportunities, there's lots of things that the manager, quote unquote, that planner is going to help you kind of do that stuff. So how can an advisor add some significant value to, this portfolio / plan?
Well, and I think this is a big deal because we get questions all the time. Hey, Sean, what's your fee structure?
Right.
And our fee structure is what it is. But when we start to look at how an advisor can really add significant value, an advisor can add significant value really in three ways, the way that I see it. First, an advisor could potentially help you increase your return more than the fee structure by creating a portfolio that's better suited to your long-term goals than one that you would select based on your own resources. Oh, Sean, I just have a 60-40 portfolio. That's fine. Well, is that the right portfolio to accomplish your goals down the road, long term? And so an advisor could add significant value there. An advisor may allow you to save the equivalent of their fee paid each year in time, energy, and worry that goes into managing your own investments.
Good point.
And this is a big deal for a lot of people. Oh, Sean, I get up every morning and I look at the Fidelity statements and I look at the markets and it stresses me out and I don't know what to do. I don't know what decisions to make. Well, that's a period of time where an advisor could add significant value by bringing some clarity in. And the third one, and this is where you start to see, how an advisor may actually save you some multiple of the fee that it's paid by coaching you out of making the great behavioral mistakes. Throwing too much money at an investment fad that's maybe near its top, or panicking completely out of equities near the bottom. Helping you stay focused on your plan, like I said at the beginning, is if you just have an investment strategy without a plan, it's just speculation. A good advisor should help coach you out of making bad behavioral decisions based on what's happening. Another area that I think an advisor can really add significant value is through proper tax planning. Creating the right tax withdrawal strategies. In many cases, that could potentially save thousands in somebody's world if you have the proper tax strategy to go with your income and investment plan.
Yeah, and all of these pieces, again, a lot of us, we do have collection of vehicles, financial vehicles. We have, insurance products. Maybe we have some annuities. Maybe we have our 401ks or 403bs or TSPs or so on and so forth. And you have all these different things and make together a portfolio and you think, well, that's my plan. And that's our topic. It's not really a plan. It's a collection of things and you really need to pull it all together to get that plan. So what are some things an advisor cannot do? You added some things. You did some significant value pieces there a second ago. Give us some things that an advisor cannot do to help us if we feel as though that we've got a plan when maybe we don't.
So, I've got three things here too.
He's chuckling already. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing an advisor cannot do with consistency or precision is forecast the economy.
Yes.
It's impossible. Nobody can say, the markets are going to go up tomorrow. They're going to go down. I know what's going to happen in a year from now. I know what's going to happen in 5 years from now. Nobody can forecast that with consistency or precision. Here's the deal. As an advisor, I can tell you the markets will go up. They will go down. I don't know in what sequence that will happen. But what I do know is how you plan and how you build your investment strategy based on your plan will have an effect on whether you react to the ups or downs in the market.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, here's the other one. It kind of goes with this. An advisor cannot, with consistency or precision, forecast the markets, more or less time them.
Even if we say they can, even if someone says they can, they have a crystal ball. It probably does not work.
No one can. It's impossible.
That's right.
So it comes back to the building the plan and understanding how is my plan going to react based on the different ways that the market could react. We just look at a Monte Carlo simulation for that. And the third one is that an advisor cannot, based on their past relative performance, forecast the future relative performance of similar funds or other equity portfolios. So what I mean by that is if an advisor says, well, my portfolio did this years ago, it reacted this way, it's going to do that in the future. No one can tell you that that's going to happen for certain. There's just no guarantees of how a portfolio is going to react one way or another based on the different economic factors. So if an advisor tells you that they can forecast the economy, they can forecast the markets, or they can forecast future performance relative to the past, I would think about having a discussion with them because nobody can forecast those things.
Right. And then there's one final piece.
Yeah. When we look at planning, look at planning more holistically. And the one thing that I can say to all of our listeners about great advisors is great advisors deal not in prediction and performance, but in planning, perspective, and behavioral coaching. So they come up with a strategy, they execute the strategy, much like the manager of a team does. They're not going to build their plans off of hopes and wants and predictions and performance of what the market could do. They're going to build a strategy in, they're going to put some perspective in, and then they're going to focus on behavioral coaching to execute the game plan.
Yeah, and all these pieces come together to formulate that total plan. So there's a lot of times people, again, will think that was our topic today, is that they'll think, well, I've got a few different pieces of a portfolio. I'm looking pretty good, so I've got myself a retirement plan. And no, you've got a portfolio. And so really you want to get together with, it all comes down to coaching, really. And you want to get together with someone who can help you coach through all the different aspects, because there's so many things. There's the Social Security aspect and tax planning and tax prep, and there's RMDs, there's when they would take things out, different bucket strategies. There's all these different kinds of things that kind of pull together. So much like the baseball analogy, which is the right player to put in at the right time for the right game, for the right part of the season, and yada, yada, yada. So you want to make sure that you're really working with an advisor who has some experience in this and can help point you in, hopefully, some of these right directions, but more importantly, that you also feel comfortable with. And a lot of times that comes down to just talking with a few people, having some conversations, finding out if they're the right fit for you. And that's one of the reasons we do our show here. So if you'd like to talk with Sean and the team at Elevated Retirement Group, you can simply call them at 855-50-RETIRE. That's 855-50-RETIRE. Or you can go check them out online. Go to retirementelevatedpodcast.com. That is retirementelevatedpodcast.com. Check out the team. There's tools, tips, and resources there. It'll also link you to their main website. You can also click on the podcast section and listen to different episodes, past as well as the upcoming ones, by subscribing to us and all that good stuff. So reach out and get your dose of Sean Lee and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. And I think with that, we'll say goodbye for this week. A nice, short and sweet podcast and to the point. And hopefully you picked up a useful nugget or two of information. And Sean, as always, thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of the World Series.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll talk with you soon here on Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee, Managing Partner at Elevated Retirement Group.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered.